When it comes to the Elemental Shaman in the pre-patch, you are going to be doing very, very good damage. Whether it's going to knock the Druid off the top spot, we won't know until the end. But if you haven't seen any of these videos where we're looking at the rough damage that these classes are going to do in the pre-patch, then let's quickly recap over the conditions. We've got our Shaman at level 70 in a 3.3.5 state, full phase 5 BIS as per Wowhead setup, which I know some of you have said, oh, but it's not quite BIS, there's a couple of items that are wrong. We're using the same source for every single spec. So if there's anything wrong, it's going to make up for tens of DPS, not hundreds of DPS. Absolutely no AoE whatsoever or cleave, it's all single target. We're using a level 70 Masters training dummy, which has 6,792 armor. Self-buffed only, so no consumables outside of the use of one single mana potion. And we go for as long as we can. As you'll notice with the Elemental Shaman, trying to last 3 minutes solo is very, very difficult. In fact, it's only lasting around as long as a Boomy does, which is around the 130 to 145 mark. As for the important parts, this is what our talents look like. So we was getting all the important talents such as Lightning Overload, Totem of Wrath, and Thunderstorm, and we are using Thunderstorm on cooldown as a way of getting mana back. We've got 10 points in enhancement to get Ancestral Knowledge, which gives us 10% intellect and the 5% extra crit from Thundering Strikes. And as for Glyphs, we're using Glyph of Lightning Bolt, which increases the damage of Lightning Bolt by 4%, and this will be available in the pre-patch because for Inscription, it's just learned from the trainer, and we're also using Glyph of Flame Tongue Weapon as well, which increases spell critical strike chance by 2%, while Flame Tongue Weapon is active, and that is the primary imbue that we're using. We've also put in a minor glyph, which is Glyph of Thunderstorm, which increases the mana you receive from your Thunderstorm spell by 2%. It no longer knocks back, and it's not really a big deal, but we are using it anyway. We tried various rotations, such as literally pressing nothing but Lightning Bolt, because as I said, mana is an issue. We was using Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning with no Flame Shock, and we, of course, was trying Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning with Flame Shock. For fun, as it is self-buff, we also done a run under Heroism, but I do find that a little bit cheesy, so we're going to take our averages from the attempts that wasn't under the effect of Heroism. And I know all you Shamans are going to be like, but Heroism's a self-buff, there's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that, but come on. We also done a few attempts using Fire Nova on cooldown, that's both with Chain Lightning or without, but the mana intensity for the DPS game was very minor. But when you're looking at these attempts, it's very comfortable to hold 3k. There's short periods of burst where we're getting to 3.2, 3.3, and there's even extended periods of time where 3.3k is being held. With Fire Nova Totem definitely adds around 100 to 150 DPS, I would say, but it definitely makes the amount of time you can actually spend DPSing without worrying about mana a lot shorter. Where this is going to be incredibly strong is when there's more than one target, and we know that. If there's 2 to 3 targets and you're using Fire Nova and Chain Lightning, you're going to be doing absolutely bonkers damage. But with pure single target, having your totems in melee range and you being just in Thunderstorm range, or at least dancing in and out to use Thunderstorm so you're getting some extra damage from it, you can hold 3.1 to 3.2k, but under realistic conditions where your raid isn't going to want you standing that close, using Fire Nova as elemental is just going to be something that you're doing on AoE fights rather than single target. Obviously, I'm saying that just from pure experience playing Wrath, not necessarily pre-patch. In the pre-patch, you might go up and put your totems down even on single target to weave in Fire Novas, but for the mana cost versus the gain DPS-wise, I would question whether it's worth it or not. Because if it's a particularly long fight, you're probably going to go home. If it's a really short fight, you know, it's only lasting a minute and a half or so, you'll be absolutely fine. And obviously, you are going to get a lot more longevity once you've got replenishment and things like that as well. But ultimately, the amount of time, even with replenishment, you're going to be able to continuously pump using both Chain Lightning and Fire Nova and keeping Flame Shock up, it's still not going to be much past, I don't know, 2 minutes or something. I've got to be honest though, it was really satisfying on the attempts where all we done was press Lightning Bolt. The amount of time we could actually keep the DPS up for was obviously prolonged because we're only pressing one button, and the DPS wasn't massively different. I mean, you can see here we're still comfortably holding 3k, and mana's not going down anywhere near as fast, and it is quite literally a one button spam rotation. I mean, at this point, we're 40 seconds in, still haven't even used a mana pot. We are thunderstorming on cooldown, and we're sitting comfortably between 3 and 3.2k at the moment. I do genuinely believe the amount of effort required into using Fire Nova, Chain Lightning, using dots or anything like that versus just pressing one button, I don't think the gain is even worth it too much. I mean, we're now at the 1 minute 34 mark. Mana still is no issue whatsoever. Still holding comfortably 3k, just pressing that one button. I think you can see for any decent length fight where you are going to be pressed for mana, just literally switching to a one-button rotation is the way to go. And bear in mind, not at a massive DPS loss either. Even when we're really pushing hard and using Fire Nova and absolutely everything, we're only getting 1 to 200 DPS extra, which, don't get me wrong, it's still a good amount extra, but at the cost of running the risk of being completely before the boss is even dead, this is probably the safer play. And that's it, Shamans. I think a lot of fun's going to be had in the pre-patch. And remember, this is only single target. It's only a little bit of fun. If you've got like a complaint about an item that's wrong, or using, I don't know, you should be using or shouldn't be using Chain Lightning, this is only to give you an idea. This isn't going to be exact. This isn't raid buffed. It's not in a raiding environment. All of that is going to add up to the point where you are better off mana-wise. You are better off DPS-wise. So we know it's only going to go up from here. But just as a simple test on single target for all of these specs, this is just the fairest way to do it. But I think you're going to have a lot of fun. And as I say, throw 2-3 targets in. I mean, heroics and stuff like that are going to be bonkers in the pre-patch. You know, 5-mans or even Karazhan, smaller raids, 10-mans, you know, where you can just get loads and loads of trash, get your totem down, Fire Nova, Chain Lightning. I mean, you're going to be cleave machines. So if you found this useful, like, subscribe. I'm doing finishing all the classes off, trying to get them all finished off in the next couple of days anyway, so we can then move on to the hype for the beta, because I've got a lot of videos and a lot of video series to get done, and just not enough hours in the day. So roll the outro. There's lots of ways you can support the channel to keep me here putting out World of Warcraft content and covering all future MMOs. Consider joining the channel as a member. You get access to emotes. Everyone will know you're a member when you comment on future videos, because you get a nice icon next to your name. And you get access to members-only videos, which I'll be putting a lot of on the channel throughout the year. Additionally, there's a Patreon link in the description as well. Thank you for watching all the way to the end, and I'll see you on the next one.